Truth Unveiled here, and today I have so much to go over with you. I'm going to be talking about bomb threats and the uptick because all this week that's all you've been hearing. Could this have something to do with the Arch of Triumph that was released yesterday? Could this have anything to do with what's to come? Very interesting and suspicious indeed. But here we are at Daily Mail, and it says EU inspectors smuggle bomb parts through Cologne airport during test of security. And what you're about to see is there's been several news stories worldwide this week alone that have to do with bombs. And later on, I'm going to take you to so-called bomb threats. What exactly are they getting ready for? But it says in the summary, 9 out of 12 banned objects got through security in open tests. That's what they want us to believe. Half of weapons or bomb parts were undetected by x-ray machines. The company said security staff had been giving extra training. Details of the tests at Cologne Bonn Airport will not be established. Last month, ISIS urged German Muslims to carry out Brussels-style attacks. No, they didn't. It was your government who carried out those attacks and then blame it on ISIS because your government's the one who's funding it. But let's keep going. It comes as details emerge of ISIS plot to blow up European tourists. No, that's just the government as well. ISIS is also planning chemical or nuclear attacks on UK and EU. Yeah, notice how they blame everything on ISIS. But let's keep going. It says, bomb parts were smuggled through the Cologne Bonn airport in Germany by the European Union inspectors, raising concerns about security controls. And it says the Rheinische Post reported that several open tests were conducted in February, and 9 of the 12 banned objects which the inspectors tried to smuggle through were not found by the airport security. Undercover officials also managed to smuggle 6 out of the 12 weapons or bomb parts through without them being detected by X-ray machines. And then it talks about ISIS and the threat of ISIS. Watch out. What is the bigger mental side here? Honestly, we can never take their word for it because we know the mainstream media, they do lie. But what are they trying to do? They're trying to say, oh my gosh, they're trying to smuggle in bombs. Oh my gosh, there are bomb threats here and there. Oh my gosh, bomb threats in public places. Why? Because they want to come after your guns. They want to monitor and surveillance, problem, reaction, solution. Because who knows, this whole thing could have just been a mental psyop all made up in order and just bogus stories for what? To instigate fear onto the sleeping public. But not only that, because they want to control you, mind control, bondage, and slavery. And that is exactly what they are getting ready for and trying to do. Not only that, but we know they are testing and conducting this stuff. They, as in your military, are vehemently preparing for civil unrest, as well as the problems that they are going to cause. And like I said, we've been seeing this all this past week. Now the question is, why are we seeing an uptick in bomb threats? Why are we even seeing these types of stories to begin with around the same time as the Arch of Triumph and other big things that have happened, like the earthquakes and the volcanic activity, as well as the banking glitches? Very interesting and suspicious. It only gets worse from here. Now, this was reported in Kent yesterday, actually, and it says bomb disposal call to King Street, Rochester, and a person has been arrested by police and remains in custody. And it says police have made an arrest after the bomb squad were called to Rochester yesterday afternoon following the discovery of a package inside of a building. Officers cordoned off a row of houses, and the bomb disposal team was called to King Street after police searched an address there at about 3:25 p.m. While inside the house, they found that what they were thought was a suspicious package and called in the explosives experts who arrived on the scene shortly after 6 p.m. So this was in the UK. More bomb threats as we see. And I'm telling you, it's only getting worse. What bomb scare? Has that become the new scare? Just like the Red Scare, the bomb scare. We're seeing an uptick of it everywhere worldwide. But this is not the only place we're seeing it. Report from the Bangkok Post. And as you can see, this was published a couple of days ago. And it says 1 killed, 10 injured by Songkhla motorcycle bomb in Thailand. And it says a man was killed and 11 others, including a child, were injured in a bomb attack in the Thepha district at about 7 p.m. on Tuesday. And I do apologize if I butchered that. It was the second deadly attack in this province within a week. And it says police said the killer bomb Wednesday evening was hidden in a motorcycle parked behind the train station. And after half an hour that the bomb exploded, they say the police were informed about a suspicious suspicious object attached to a mobile phone inside a grocery store near the train station. The motorcycle bomb went off after officers arrived at the store. And it says the man killed in the blast was identified. Here's his identification. He died in the hospital. And it was the second bomb in this province in 9 days. Not only that, but a bomb attack just before happened in another district, killed another policeman and wounded another officer on April 11th. Very interesting and suspicious indeed. This is going on worldwide. And of course, you hear about bomb threats and bombs going off all over the place, but now you're seeing an uptick because I just reported one in Europe, in the UK, as well as in Germany, but now we see it in Thailand too. But that's not all. Here I am at The Guardian, and it says Jerusalem rocked by bomb explosion on bus. Now, of course, we have to be very careful what mainstream media reports because they do lie. So keeping that in mind, it's just interesting, though, how all of these reports come around the same time. Is that a coincidence? Is that a surprise? Around the same time as the earthquakes and the volcanoes and the Arch of Triumph? Could this be what? Could this represent what? Satanic blood sacrifices? Oh, you bet. But it goes on to say investigation underway after blast in southwest. The city leaves at least 21 people injured, 2 of them seriously. It says a bomb explosion on a Jerusalem bus has injured 21 people, 2 of whom seriously, according to Israeli security sources. Interesting. It says the explosion, the first bomb attack on a bus in Jerusalem since the end of the second Intifada a decade ago, gutted the number 12 egg bus and set fire to the second pass bus as well as a car. And here's a picture of it from here. At least this is what they're telling us. Remember, never believe a word they tell you, but let's keep going. It says Jerusalem's district police commander had said the explosion was caused by an explosive device placed in the rear part of the bus, which was close to a major road junction in southwest Jerusalem and near Israeli settlements just over the Green Line in the West Bank in the fake Jerusalem. This is not the real Jerusalem. You can do your research on that for more, and you can start with reading Jeremiah chapter 9 verses 11. Why am I telling you this? Because there's so much going on. There's so much activity and uptick in activity, and what you start to see and realize is that not only do we see a ton of bomb threats and everything else, but we're seeing an uptick of it, and it's happening worldwide. I wonder why that's the case. I wonder why that is. I wonder why it's happening at such a time as this. And later on, I'm going to share with you the bigger agenda behind this and what your government has planned for you. Now, I'm at The Guardian again, and this talks about the attacks that happened in Kabul, which of course they blame it on the Taliban when we know who funds the Taliban. We know exactly who funds it. And like I said, whether this is real or not, like I said, it's just interesting and suspicious that we're seeing upticks of this all over the place. But of course it says insurgent group Spring Offensive begins with one of the bloodiest ever attacks in Afghan capital. This spring, beware, because we're also seeing what? Democracy spring. Very interesting and suspicious indeed. I'm telling you all, too much is going on for you all to ignore this stuff. But it goes on to say dozens were killed and more than 300 injured on Tuesday at a Taliban suicide attack on the headquarters of an elite military unit in central Kabul, one of the group's bloodiest ever attacks in the Afghan capital. The violence marked the start of the Taliban's annual spring offensive named this year for former leader Mullah Omar. Oh, but who's really the leader? Who's really funding it? I'll let you think about that, but it goes on to say the scale of the attack after months of Taliban advances around the country has heightened fears that Afghanistan faces one of the most violent years since Omar and his government were toppled from power back in 2001. And we know the real scam behind that. Hint, hint, oil. That's all I'm going to say about that. But at least 30 people were killed. It was the deadliest attack in Kabul since at least 2011. At least this is what they're telling us. At least this is what they're reporting. Because like I said, there's a lot of things they don't tell us. A lot of stuff they don't tell us on purpose because they want to what? They want to try to condition us and mentally condition us to only believe what they say when we know there's way more going on, such as wars in Kashmir, India, and such as wars all over the Middle East, including Syria. Oh, but they're not reporting that in the West, are they? And then we have another bomb threat that happened today too. It says United flight from Albany delayed after bomb scare. Albany International Airport flight to Newark searched after passenger allegedly talks of bomb. And of course, this isn't nothing new. This stuff happens all the time. But like I said, it's interesting that in the past week, if not the past few days alone, you've seen different so-called bomb threats and bombs in Afghanistan, Jerusalem, Thailand, all these different places, Europe, a bomb threat in Germany, bomb threat in the UK. Very interesting and suspicious indeed at such a time as this. Remember what time we're living in. Please understand what time we're in, because remember, nothing ever happens for a coincidence. It says a New Jersey bound plane was evacuated Wednesday after a passenger spoke of a bomb. The United Airlines flight 4941 left about 2 hours after its originally scheduled takeoff was delayed at 5:50 a.m. when a passenger reported another man on the flight was talking about a bomb. He uttered the words bomb to another passenger who alerted the flight crew, and that's what they said. The pilot ordered all passengers and crew off the plane. Remember, problem, reaction, solution. And like I said, you're going to start seeing an uptick in this, and you're going to keep seeing this all over the place, because like I said, they are getting your mind ready and mentally conditioning you for the bigger things to come, for the bigger so-called scares to come. And remember, that's how they try to do it, to evoke fear in you. But Yahuwah tells us not to have any fear. But don't get it twisted. You've been seeing a ton of bomb threats and bomb scares in schools as well. It's only a matter of time until this becomes a reality, because they've been testing it here and testing it there. Soon enough, they're going to start conducting the real things. Soon enough, they're going to stop with the false flags and the Sandy hoaxes and just start doing the real thing. They already have the weaponry ready to go. But I'm here showing you news articles and reports of different schools that have had so-called bomb threats around the world in the past couple of days. And as you can see, there's been so many bomb threats at schools. We see one at Dover High School. We see teens being arrested for school bombs. You can just look at the news. You see bomb threats almost every single day. And we've been seeing an uptick in them this year specifically. And the question is, why? Of course, many of them are hoaxes. And, why are we seeing this all along? Why is there always a threat? Remember, that is what your government does. There's always a threat. This country's a threat. That country's a threat. Everybody's a threat except America and Zionist Israel. Oh my goodness. Because that's the hypocrisy they're going to keep feeding us. This is the report we went over today. And there was another report of a man admitting to mailing a so-called bomb threat. Okay, let's keep going. So we see all these bomb threats throughout the world, and we see them all within the same amount of time, and we're seeing it being targeted in schools. Like I said, it's only a matter of time. I don't know if they're actually going to go out with one, but I just wanted to report this to you and show you, because I'm telling you why the uptick in all this. And what's the bigger agenda? Not only to evoke fear in the sleeping public, but also to cause a threat when there really is none, and to keep people on edge, but all mental psyop, and to get ready for the real thing. Because remember, the boy who cried hoax, it will no longer be a hoax. The Sandy hoaxes will no longer be hoaxes. I hope you are ready for that to come. Please seek Yahuwah and his true son Yahusha, so that way you will be ready for the destruction to come that is even at the door. You can call that fear-mongering if you want to. That is just the honest truth, whether you like it or not. But this is Truth Unveiled here. Shalom.